Well, I think the overall concern about the euro and the eurozone is misplaced. If you're looking at a real trouble spot in the global economy, the UK and Japan are really the most troubling countries in the world for reasons I can get into. The eurozone is really not in the bad shape that the policymakers tell us it is in. They are basically extorting us into accepting things like transforming the European Stability Mechanism, the new financing fund, into a bank, which allows them to get 10 to 100 times leverage to recapitalize and refinance 5 to 10 trillion euros in debt. Of course, that'll make a lot of bankers fabulously wealthy. The people who don't have any political power now will continue not having any political power. But I don't see the euro breaking up, really, because they have a lot of path to go in terms of leveraging the European Union. The two countries that do look like they're going to explode and go the way of all flesh are the UK and Japan. Those are really the hot spots we'll be talking about in 6 months. Well, the European Central Bank is already doing something. They are swapping toxic assets from these banks all over Europe in exchange for fresh, treasury paper, short-term treasury paper. They're expanding their balance sheet to accommodate a lot of toxic debts, and they are also engaging in artificially suppressing interest rates. And this is being done all over the world in programs like quantitative easing. This is to keep interest rates low, to keep the debt service on the junk that these central banks are taking on manageable. But it is causing a two-tier global economy where the added liquidity needed to take on this toxic debt is driving asset prices of the top 1 or 2% of wealth owners higher. So paintings, rare paintings, yachts, exotic islands, all of these prices are going up because of all the money that the central banks are using to keep interest rates low. But because interest rates are low, the savings return and wages are also low. So there's no fresh capital being earned. And you can't have capitalism without capital. So what you end up with is a system is post-capitalism. It's a system of command and control run by central bankers, by and for central bankers and their friends. Look at what happened to Ireland. Before the crisis, Ireland had very little public debt. After the crisis, the government agreed to transfer 10 times the country's GDP in debt from Anglo-Irish Bank, one bank, onto the government's balance sheet, and then to pay that debt, the government imposed austerity. Now, if we were in the back alley of a ghetto somewhere, that would be called a lynching, or a robbery, which is this is all that we're talking about. It's a gang rape. Well, the crisis today is an echo of the crisis of the 1920s, the crash of 1929, and then the depression that followed the crash of 1929. Now, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt came into office, he declared a bank holiday, he revalued the dollar, he put together the Pecora Commission to investigate banker crimes, and hundreds of bankers went to jail. And he set the stage, he brought about Glass-Steagall, and he set the stage for what became known as the American century. Now contrast that to Barack Obama. He comes into office after a similar banking crash. Everyone said that the crash of 2008 was just very similar to the crash of '29. And what did Barack Obama do? He kept Larry Summers, Tim Geithner, and Ben Bernanke in office, the three primary architects of the crisis. He went out of his way to kowtow to Wall Street. He embraced Wall Street. He did the exact opposite of FDR. Barack Obama will go down in history as the American president that killed America.